Well, thank you for staying with the Monday Report. I see a lot of your reactions on what will it take to maintain peace during elections. Trevor Mbija at Citizen TV Kenya, hashtag Monday Report. Let's bring up some of what you're saying because the solutions really lie within us. Nyantike Chester says, let an NCIC Kenya be granted prosecutory powers to check and tame foul-mouthed politicians. We're all Kenyans and didn't choose to be born in tribes we found ourselves in. Happy 2022. And to you too, Nyantika. Let's see what else you're saying here on Twitter. Moses Kipngetich says the government should come up with stringent rules that govern election. The citizens should be disciplined and abide by the set laws as well. All right, let's bring up the next one, see what you're saying here on social media. Geoffrey Fred says, involve the youth. Youth are especially affected by election violence in part because very high unemployment rates make them more susceptible to candidates offering to pay them to disrupt an election. We talk to them and say, you do not have to do this. Okay? Advocating for dialogue there. Let's see. Angel Mbuthia says, Kenyans will not and must not and should not entertain rogue politicians who make utterances that threaten our peace, regardless of their political party. Nothing is sweeter than peace. All right? Let's see what else you're saying here. F. Osiro says all the leaders need to be held accountable for their statements moving forward. It is also when common wananchi call their leaders out, other than just NCIC taking charge. Collective responsibility will deal with this menace out totally. All right. Let's see what else you're saying here. Charlie says political intolerance is an affront to multi-party democracy. Reckless speech and insightful politicking should be nipped in the bud. Okay. Let's see what else you're saying here before we come back to my panelists. Achieng Ouko says we need strong and independent institutions to ensure that the country stays peaceful. With such institutions, no utterance that might spike hatred amongst Kenyans will go unpunished. Chair, you've heard what people are saying here. And how do we ensure then that we maintain the peace going into these elections? And what is your reaction to everything you've heard here? Because there are many people who are saying that NCIC needs to do more, though you've explained that there is your mandate which you stick to. And yes, there's not much you can do after that.
Thank you, Trevor. And I really want to thank my panelists, Elizabeth, Millicent, and James, for gathering the courage to share their personal stories. And this is where I want really to start before I come to the feedback. When I first heard Elizabeth's testimony, it's powerful. It's a testimony that should be heard beyond the small circles we have here. The same thing when we listen to James. I've heard many people who have come to me and they say, up to this day in Banti Forest, I can tell that is my farm, that is my house. Whenever I attempt to go, I'm told, you there. Now, we are talking not of theories, not of fiction. We are talking of reality. And this is what I would really want to invite more Kenyans to hear. What will it take? It will take all of us working together. Those with the powerful testimonies, like we have heard today, must be given spaces to be heard. Because this is what I would say speaks to the hearts of people. We need hearts, we need minds, we need the souls to be able to solve this problem. And this is where NCIC, I would say, we are going to have a different approach than we have done before. Now, how do we get these stories, these human testimonies to be heard? We are planning to have a documentary. And this is what I want also to invite the media, yourself, Trevor, and others. We want to have a documentary that will help Kenyans to understand what can happen if we don't take action today. I have been very much encouraged by the feedback I've been getting from Kenyans on this particular story of Mandoadwa. I have yet to get a single person, even from Meru, who will say they are congratulating Honorable Senator Linturi for what he said. Not even one. It is Kenyans are saying, we really don't want to be involved in violence and all that. We just want to vote. And this is what, as NCIC, we are going to try to help Kenyans to do. And this documentary I'm talking about, we invite all the media houses, and then we use it for public education. You know, we learn habits, we can unlearn habits. We learn bad habits, we can learn good habits. Change of mentality, this is what we need. There is what leaders can do, there is what even politicians can do, institutions can do, but the Kenyan people are the ones who will do the most. And this, we have an example of struggles in this country. When I hear Elizabeth here and others, I have heard that in Bosnia-Herzegovina, I've heard it in Cambodia, I have heard it in Chile. What we are saying is that people can destroy beautiful countries like Kenya, and we almost did it. We shouldn't go there again. This is the message that I think needs to sink deep into the hearts and minds of politicians. Now, why is NCIC so keen about the wall of shame and the wall of fame? I had explained here before that when we said we are going to establish a wall of shame, many Kenyans dismissed it. But it is true, until now, many people have said it's because we don't want to go into that wall of shame, because it is not just the individual, it's their family, it's their profession, etc. Now, hate speech, and this is what we are going to concentrate on this year, because this is what can make or break this country when elections come. Hate speech has known to destroy many countries elsewhere, as I have said. Now, how do we not just tame, but completely abolish hate speech in this country? Because we can do it. And that is what we want to invite Kenyans to join NCIC in doing this. Our elections bill has that part. I invited Elizabeth to join us so that her story can be heard as part of this framework and the space of elections bill. Because there's nothing that is more powerful than experiences of people. Here is a person, here is a young woman whose life could have been destroyed. We thank God that she has been able to heal, but as she said, the trauma is still there. How many more Elizabeths do we want to see in this country because of elections? So this is what we really wanted to do. And I feel so passionate about it because, as I have said, I have traveled the world and I know what hate speech can do. We are going to join with the United Nations, which is going to launch a hate speech program, global program on hate speech here in Nairobi later this month. And NCIC and Kenya has been chosen by the Secretary General of the UN to be an example. And I would like us really to say, I want to invite Kenyans, let us be a good example and eliminate hate speech. That way we'll have an election that, like many other countries, will say elections come and go. And that is what we want to concentrate on.
Fair enough, Chair, but there are those who are calling you, the NCIC, a toothless dog. Do you need more powers to do something? Or is it the people now, the role of the people in all this? Because you have a list of shame, but some of those leaders are still re-elected.
And this is where we wanted to invite Kenyans, because I would say we want to, what is the role of even political parties? And we are going to engage political parties. And that's why I feel that is really by having Kenyans to embrace this idea of political decency. It is only through political decency, the dignity of the leaders that we have, that we will be able to overcome. Say, yes, we have been calling for more powers. We don't have them according to the act we have. There is a bill in Parliament which we hope can pass. But in order to deal with what we have at the moment, that's why I have talked of this multi-agency. And so we are going to work with that. But even more than that, as I have said, is now to the Kenyans that we are going to appeal. Because most Kenyans, they want peace. The path of violence is littered with the bodies, with the corpses, with the scores. But the path of peace is not littered that way. And that is why we must choose the path of peace.
Chair, the Honorable Kimani Ichung'wah, Member of Parliament for Kikuyu, is saying, ask Reverend, as the chair for NCIC, he says that people walk to him and tell him they are yet to go back to their farms and does nothing about it. Has he brought it to the president's attention, who tells the nation all IDPs have been resettled and was part of his ICC defense? Between him and President Uhuru, who do Kenyans believe?
As I said, in fact, the last person who came and talked to me about this is a PhD student at the University of Nairobi. He came to me and he told me his story. And he says, even today, we can go and he can show me his house, his farm, but he can't go there. Now, Honorable Ichung'wah is asking whether I have shared this with the president. At the moment, I haven't, because I haven't met the president since I heard this story. But what I hear also from James, I think is a matter that then I would like to take up. The way the issue of IDPs is a shame that 20 years plus, still we have IDPs who were there in 2008, quite honestly. So this as a part of healing and reconciliation, and this is something that actually I have discussed with His Excellency the President. As I saw and what, in fact, to start with, I called Uhuru Doctrine, was that of the vision of political stability, social cohesion, and economic prosperity. And I said that part of what we should have here is how to deal with those Kenyans who feel like they are not even Kenyans in their own country. So that's a matter I can say to Honorable Ichung'wah, I'll take it up.
All right. Rev, I'll come to you to give us closing remarks in just a bit. But Evida, when you speak to Kenyans, what would you like them to hear from this conversation today? What is your advice to them? Because you made a very powerful statement that some of these utterances are made, people take them lightly, but they have an impact on real people on the ground. What would you like Kenyans to hear from you tonight? If you're speaking to them, what is your advice?
Trevor, I just want to remind Kenyans that Kenya is the only home that we have. And the moment we ruin it, we ruin ourselves. The moment we demolish this house and pull it down, we will have no more Citizen TV, right? It is the same way. The moment you ruin where you live, your country, this is the only home we have. We will never have another home. I know there are a lot of people that want to go to the US, to Europe, to the Dubai. But let me tell you, east or west, Trevor, home is the best. And I'm seated here today. My daughter is going to turn 14 years on 30th of August. Trevor, the government has got so much issues to address. We are still seeking redress after 14 years. And I'm counting 15 years. We are still on the path of seeking redress. It was just today that I was talking with my director about what should we do as women who have gone through sexual violence in this country. Because in the organization, We believe in self-agency, that, Trevor, nobody will come from outside and speak for me. I, Elizabeth, am the only person who can speak about what I went through. And we were talking about seeking for resources, to be calling for media briefings. Because let me speak the truth. We live in a broken country. And I really thank Mr. Kobia here about the strategies that we have. But are Kenyans ready to go the right path? There is that guy who has tweeted about youth and unemployment. But I want to believe that despite of us youth not having employment, being unemployed, we've got values. And I want to advise the youths of this country, let us show these people this time what we are made up of. Not in form of fighting, but in form of standing our ground and deciding, doing no harm to your neighbor, to your friend, to your community, ruining your society. This is a future that we are building for our nation, for our children. I want to see, I look at Mathare where I live. Trevor, do you know my 8-year-old son tells me, Mom, sasa juu election inakam, watu wanaenda kupigana. He knows. It's a pity, Trevor. Trevor, it's a pity that at that age, a child will know, now that we are headed to the election, people are going to fight. We are going to be tear-gassed. We are going to run around. There is going to be chaos. Madness is going to be our second name in Mathare. Yeah. Because we have made it a culture that in every election, we associate it with violence. I want to say this, if Linturi is watching today, I am asking him for audience with him, because I want to sit him down and let him know what I went through. Trevor, I just didn't have the time. Yeah. I did an interview with Jeff while he was on KTN, and it is on YouTube. And I told people of what I went through, how I tried, Trevor, killing my own child, because I was so bitter. Because what had happened to me had taken the best of me. That bitterness had taken the toll of me. I lost myself, Trevor. I didn't have a job. I had no skill. So if you don't have a skill, you cannot get a job. I had bills to take care of at that time. I could not. And this made me more bitter. And I thought the only way now to deal with my issues was to do away with the child. Trevor, but I thank God that today the tables are changed. But it has changed for me, Trevor. It has changed for me because that light shone in my life, yeah. You know? But what about those women who are still in the grassroots, down there, down there in Wasilgishu, Trevor? What about that woman who underwent sexual violence, whom I've never met? What about that woman? What about those children who were born out of rape? And Trevor, it's a pity that some of those children, Trevor, they had to be done away with. Yeah. They were, these were innocent children. They didn't know what happened, Trevor. Right. And it's a pity, Trevor, that there are people that are trying to mold, to like beautify it and bring something out of it that was not. But it's a high time that Linturi also comes in public and tells us, who are these madoadoa? An apology, Trevor, is not enough. Let us do away with the apologies. And I've seen people attacking the IG and the DCI, but I'm standing here today and I'm telling the bosses, the IG and the DCI, to just look at me and make a choice tonight. Yeah. Which way do we want to go, Trevor, as a country? Which way? Okay. Do we want to go? Because Do we want to go to the post-election period? Is that the way that we want to go? Or do we have this mind and that value of that heart that tells you, you can do better than this?
Okay.
Trevor, I'm not afraid to say it. We live in a broken country.
Yeah.
But it is up to us to make it better. These leaders, we've got the numbers. We've got the numbers. And it will be so disappointing that Linturi will be a hero in his hometown. I will be disappointed.
Okay.
But then again, that I've got the opportunity here, I still want to remind the government that it has got a long way.
Okay.
Trevor, people are bitter because so many issues have not been resolved.
Okay.
So many people are still bitter, and given an opportunity to revenge, I don't know what this country is going to look like. Okay. And the chair is here. I would also urge you, Chair, we need to form a body that will go out there in these communities the way Rwanda has tried to do. Rwanda has tried to call this, what do we call them, barazas in their community. Let us talk. Okay. Because when we are in 2022 and someone cannot access their farm, you are trying there, jaribu uone. Trevor, which way are we going? Okay. But then again, I just want to remind Kenyans again, and I will say it again, this is the only home. We host refugees from other countries. Okay. I don't know who is going to host us if we ruin this beautiful country, Kenya.
All right. Let me bring in James. James, your closing remarks on this very briefly, because we've run out of time here.
Yeah, thank you very much, Brother Trevor. I want, first of all, to agree with my sister that there are many issues that the government has not dealt with as far as internal displacement is concerned. There are numerous issues. I don't know why the government is closing its eyes instead of looking at these matters, even as we approach the elections, because this is something that will happen maybe, and it will continue to recur.
Yeah.
There are quite a number of issues. I don't know why even His Excellency has closed his eyes and just left the matters the way they are. Because as my sister is saying, there are people who are bitter about everything that is happening. Let me say, there are people who are very desperate even as we sit here now. That's one. The next thing I want to say, and I'm telling Kenyans and all our leaders, as a victim of this violence that was there in 2007 and the years before, that peace is very expensive when it is lost. And building peace and bringing peace back to the people from an environment of fighting is something very elusive. And this is why we have been unable to come up economically, because the background we came from was not soft that time. Now that we are here and that we have come that far, and that we have now been able to establish ourselves, we are not empty-handed now. And we are not blaming anybody for what happened in the past, but we are saying we have something that we have made now that requires to be safeguarded.
Yeah.
The government should come out clearly and deal with these people who are coming with the hate speech.
Okay.
I would advise our leaders also. Whom do they want to govern after we have elected them? It is we people.
Yeah.
Would they like to take office and then govern people who are in shutters, people, homes that have been destroyed, people who cannot listen to what they are saying? Or what is it that they want when they take office? Because as I listen to them and as I hear them playing their politics, there is a lot of abusive language. There is a lot of bad mudslinging upon one another. Why don't these people deal with the issues that will help Kenyans improve their livelihoods instead of dwelling on personalized issues about themselves and about instead of dealing with issues that Kenyans are suffering from? One is unemployment. Look at the number of the youth we have in the country that have nothing to do. Come to my village where I live. There are so many young men that just have nothing to do. And maybe this is why they are being attracted by this thing called, whatever name it is being called, because it seems to be promising something that is coming.
Yeah.
Finally, I'd like to tell the government that the issue of internal displacement, if not dealt with immediately and decisively, becomes dynamic.
Okay. And
once it becomes dynamic, the government feels challenged all through. We have been in this for a long time. Yeah. We have tried to resettle those who are in the camps. We have people, even as we sit here now, Trevor, who are waiting for the government to come out and do some compensation to them.
Okay.
It has not been done.
All right.
And now here we are, and the matters have started again. So we are telling the government, can you pull up your socks in terms of maintaining peace in this country as we move ahead in politics? For our politicians, let them tone down. We understand them, we know them, we have the votes, we shall give them the votes, but then they should also take care of our welfare seriously from the ground here as we move forward.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Millicent, closing remarks, very briefly.
Thank you very much. First and foremost, I want to thank the churches and the faith leaders for what they continue to do by denying politicians platforms. I think they need to continue doing that. Because if they come to politics in the places of worship, I think they're doing the wrong thing. People are already traumatized. People need solutions. So I want to encourage the faith leaders to take the opportunity to preach peace and to live what they are preaching. And also, these so-called politicians or the leaders, they belong to these institutions. I want to ask and urge our faith leaders to try to do something different. Don't clap for them, but really teach them, chastise them whenever they go wrong, and help them to come to the right path. Number two, identity-based violence is something that we have embraced and we want to normalize as a country. It is wrong. It shouldn't be normalized. It should not be accepted. It is not acceptable. Our Ubuntu-ness, our humanity, is because of those that are around us. The more we embrace each other, the more we appreciate our interconnectedness, the more we will take care of ourselves, and the more we'll take care of our peace and cohesiveness. We can only move forward as a country if we hold each other together and applaud where there needs to be, and also correct when there is need to correct. Last but not least, I want to appeal to the Kenyans. It is really in our hands. It is our responsibility. We have been told that leaders come from God. This very God that we worship is a very wise God and is a God of order. And he actually has given us a choice. Choose wisely. And if indeed our national anthem is anything to go by, oh God of all creation, to bless this land, then we really must go back to that God and honestly seek him to direct us, but we have to make the choice. Let us make the choice to get rid of violent leaders and change the culture of violence to that of non-violence. Those are some of the things I feel if we do as a country and we embrace each other, I think cohesion and harmony will thrive in this nation, and we will then take care of food security and other services that we so desperately need to grow and to move forward as a country, as a prosperous country for that matter.
Thanks, Millicent.
Thank you, Trevor.
Chair, close this for us, your closing remarks.
Thank you very much, Trevor, and my fellow panelists, and the Kenyans who are watching and listening. I just want to close by inviting Kenyans to a serious national conversation on the dangers of hate speech, where we take stock of what hate speech has done to this country, the unresolved issues and problems that were caused by the consequences and effects of hate speech. And let's have that conversation during this year and see how together we can work to avoid hate speech. Because to me, this is the elephant in the room when it comes to elections 2022. And as NCIC, we are ready to provide the space and the resources to have that kind of a national conversation.
Let me bring up some of your feedback as we close up on this conversation here. Trevor Mbija at Citizen TV Kenya, hashtag Monday Report. There are quite a number. These are the many we could squeeze in. Kevin Koech says politicians exploit the differences between people while leaders work on the differences between people to bring them together. All right, let's see what else you're saying here really quick. Rutua Sam says, we have a very good constitution in Kenya. If well implemented, it can protect us from violent, but implementing authority NCIC is toothless because offenders seem to be bosses to implementers. Okay. Let's see what else you're saying here. Elijah Wangari says, listening to the testimonials given by the panelists on the Monday Report, I have to say that there's never a winner in war, and we should all be agitators of peace, irrespective of our political stance. Senator Mithika Linturi should apologize to Kenyans. They did apologize, actually, including the party as well. The UDA party apologized on his behalf. He also apologized. Mark Oseno, NCIC is toothless but forthright. And I think this was a strategy from the legislature to ensure there is no structural way of handling issues of Linturi's nature. Kenya bleeds all the time. We approach elections. It must be stopped. Okay? Let's see what else you're saying here as we finish up. De Groot says NCIC Kenya does not need more powers. NCIC Kenya needs more capacity in terms of investigators and recording gadgets and conflict management specialists. All right? Let's see, I was squeezing the last one here. Samulera says it's clear that everyone loves peace. Let all of us as Kenyans not take sides when it comes to something that threatens our peace and cohesion. I want to thank all my panelists for making time this evening. Reverend Dr. Samuel Kobia, Chairperson, NCIC, Evida Elizabeth Atieno, Women's Rights Advocate, Asante Sana, Millicent Oucho Otieno, Director, Local Capacities for Peace International, and James Mushina Kinyagia, Coordinator, National IDP Network in Wasingishu. Rosa Buyu says this to you, Evida. She says, congratulate her for me. Rosa Buyu, Honorable Rosa Buyu is a woman representative for Kisumu. She says, congratulate her for me for her bravery and determination to make her life and other Kenyans' lives better by speaking out and sharing her painful experience. We all say no to people who propagate violence. All right. Thank you so much for making time this evening. And thank you all for all the conversations you've had. Like I always say, we are brothers and sisters and we have to stick together no matter what. The political differences, and watch this space. Those people have worked together before. Don't let this break you from your neighbor. It's not that serious. All right. Stay peaceful tonight. We all love you. Take care. My name is Trevor Mbija. Always a pleasure. Bye for now.